So many of you might ask, why am I, a Shakhtar fan, here at Craven Cottage, the home of Fulham FC today? Well, there's actually two reasons for that. First of all, I want to check up on how Kevin is doing. He is one of my most favorite Brazilians to ever play for Shakhtar, and he got his move to the Premier League club Fulham just this summer. Also, Craven Cottage is actually a part of our history. Fulham actually pulled off a massive defeat against Shakhtar, which was a big upset at the time, and many fans who I've spoken to today actually consider that Shakhtar team the greatest team to have ever played at Craven Cottage. So let's look into it more and let's follow up these exciting stories.
Back in 2010, Fulham produced one of the greatest wins in their history, knocking out Shakhtar Donetsk, the reigning UEFA Cup champions. Roy Hodgson said he rated that Shakhtar side alongside Johan Cruyff's Ajax, a team filled with future stars like Fernandinho, Willian, Douglas Costa, and leaders like Dario Sona and Razvan Rats. Mark Schwarzer said that the first 20 minutes from Shakhtar were unbelievable, unlike anything he'd ever seen. Aaron Hughes said it felt like playing against Barcelona. Even Bobby Zamora called them an astonishing team. For Fulham fans, however, it wasn't just an upset. It sparked a run that took them all the way to the Europa League final. And to this day, many still say Shakhtar were the greatest team to ever play at Craven Cottage. Let's see if any Fulham fans remember that game.
So I'm here in a pub with my friend Jack Kelly, who is a fantastic Fulham journalist. Please be sure to give him a follow on X. And Jack, first of all, you said you were at that game as a child, the Shakhtar Fulham game. What are your memories of that game?
It was the only game I went to in that Europa League run. I remember it being cold, I remember it being dark, but I remember we took our seats and the game started within 2 minutes. We were 1-0 up thanks to Zoltan Gira's goal. And I don't remember much about the game, but I do remember sort of every single goal that was scored in that game. The other memories they don't come to me, but I was probably too young to appreciate how good Shakhtar were. And it was only when I was obviously subsequently talked about it with other football fans, other Fulham fans, they said, "Oh, Shakhtar were unbelievable that night." And Roy Hodgson's comments after the game as well. I remember Adriano's goal going around the keeper and he scored. And then, of course, I remember Bobby Zamora was right in front of me. He sort of took the ball, turned and shot first time. And yeah, so that was the only game I went to in that run.
In the second game at Donbas Arena, Shakhtar were even more dominant. And despite taking 24 shots on target and Fulham getting a red card late in the game, the final score was 1-1 and Fulham knocked us out. Well, for me it was always an embarrassing game to remember. I never appreciated the other side of the medal. Fulham fans attending an unforgettable game so far away from home and making memories that will last them a lifetime. Let's talk to Dan, one of the few Fulham fans who actually made it to the away end in Donetsk that day.
I got there I think it was the 24th of February. Me and my dad decided to go out because we've been supporting Fulham for a very long time, and it was like once in a lifetime moment going out and watching Fulham in Europe. And we went. We got their plane to Kiev, and then we stayed in Dnipro for a little bit. Then went to Donetsk, and it was, the whole city was amazing. Like it was my dad's birthday as well, so it was beautiful. The stadium was amazing as well, and the whole city was and the people as well were just amazing as well, and it was fantastic, and even better that we got through. We think it was a 1-1 draw, and we went through with the first leg being 3-1. So it was amazing. Yeah.
Would you say Donbas Arena is one of the better stadiums you visited? Because us Shakhtar fans, especially the ones who visited in Donetsk, we seem to say it's the best stadium in the world. Obviously, we are biased, but what do you have to say to those people?
It was fantastic. Yeah. The whole stadium. I remember going up, and there was blue lights like around outside of the ground. When they scored, when I think Yadson scored, it was the whole crescendo of noise like going up. It was fantastic. Like I've never heard a noise like that since, and it's one of the best stadiums I've been to, and it was very good. Yeah.
It's a really great praise from a fan who attends so many games regularly. So, in terms of the game itself, how well do you remember it? Are there any highlights? Were there any sort of crazy celebrations at the end of the game?
There was a lot of when we scored, like when Hangeland scored, we erupted into it was so good. And then at the end of the game, it was quite funny, like because we were going down. The whole Shakhtar fans just crowding outside the stadium waiting for us, and I was thinking, oh my god, like, what's going to happen? Like, and so, but we got escorted out the ground, and in the end, we just chilled with a few fans and went to a nice restaurant after. So yeah, it was the whole stadium, the whole day was amazing. Obviously, my recollection has gone a bit 15 years ago. So yeah, but it was yeah, really good.
Before heading over to the pub to speak with more Fulham fans, I stopped for lunch with this group who'd kindly invited me along. I'm really grateful for the hospitality. It's moments like these that remind you how welcoming football culture can be, even if you're a Shakhtar fan at the table. My next stop was the Golden Lion, Fulham's famous matchday pub. And here is a cool coincidence. Shakhtar fans in Donetsk actually had a Golden Lion too. So walking up to this one felt strangely familiar, like a little nod to home. I ended up speaking to two friendly Fulham fans there. Very good chat about the club and the season.
I mean, when we score, I get worried, and away from home, we've been abysmal. But at home, a bit better. Yeah. Better.
Hopefully, a good result today then.
Hopefully, but it's Palace, so it's a bit of a bogey team.
Definitely, Palace we've struggled against the last 2-3 matches. They obviously beat us in the Carabao Cup last year and then went on to win it. They're a good team, but Fulham. I'm sure everybody that is watching this would have seen the game that we played against Man City in the week, where Fulham showed quite a lot of spirit, and I don't know, I haven't seen something like that in a little while. So who knows? I think Palace are obviously playing in Europe, so the team's going to be a bit tired. I think it'll be a good opportunity. So
The Golden Lion looked incredible. It's a very nice old school London pub, and it looked very, very cozy. With all the Christmas decorations up, it felt even more special. After enjoying it and taking it in for a moment, I wanted to hear what Fulham fans were thinking about Kevin.
And I really like him on the ball. Like, he's an exciting player. I don't know if he's the most vital player on the team, but he's definitely the nicest to watch.
I think he is good. I think he does everything right, but it's the final ball that is the problem at the moment. So he's got everything of a world class player, besides that final moment. But I think more work with Marco Silva, and I'm sure he'll get the best out of him.
I think that what happened was when Kevin came on against Leeds in his debut and had the 15 minutes from it was almost like Messi-esque. It was unbelievable. He changed the game. He won us the corner, which then led to the own goal, which gave us the 3 points. And everyone was talking about, oh my God, how good is this guy going to be? And because of circumstances, i.e. Fulham losing games in those 4 games in a row I just referenced, Kevin would come on in those games and he would struggle to make an impact because Fulham were chasing the game and it wasn't quite the right game for him to shine. So he hasn't hit the heights that we all expected, but that doesn't mean he's been a bad player. I think he's still a very useful tool in this squad. It just so happens that Chukwueze right now is getting the headlines. He scored the goal or 2 goals against City. I got the assist against Spurs and against Sunderland. So he's doing very well, Chukwueze. And Kevin came on against Spurs and did exactly what he needed to do. Slow the game down, win the free kicks and get over the line. And then he comes on against City and still makes a really good assist for Josh King, who almost makes it 5-5, which would have been incredible. I think there's more to come from Kevin.
I then started heading to the stadium. Craven Cottage has to have the most beautiful walk from the closest metro station to the stadium out of any grounds I've ever been to. You first head through a lovely park and then walk along the street with stunning Victorian buildings. Very soon, the beautiful stadium facade appears in the background. This is the Johnny Haynes stand, the oldest remaining stand in the entire Premier League. Opened in 1905, it was designed by the legendary Archibald Lage, the same architect behind Ibrox and stadiums all across the UK. What's amazing is how much of the original character is still here. The brickwork, the ironwork, the old school turnstiles. It almost feels frozen in time, like a living museum piece in the middle of modern football. And as I walked along this historic stand, I bumped into a Crystal Palace fan, so I had to ask him what he was expecting from today's game.
So, how do you feel about today's game? What do you think the result will be? How are you feeling?
It could be a tough game because we have some players get injured, like the Sar, and we also missed Munoz. So yeah, it could be like if Matchday can take these chances, I would say we can get a 1-0, 2-0 win. That would be fine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you seem very confident today of a good result. Is this how Palace season has been going so far? You just feel confident for every game, or is it something to do maybe with Fulham and how tough it's been
We double
so
killed
far?
them in the home end twice last season. So yeah,
Okay,
yeah, sure. Yeah, why not be confident? All Paris fans also be confident. Yeah.
I understand. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate
Eagles!
it.
Whenever I visit a new ground, I always make time for the club shop. Fulham's shop was brilliant, loads of really nice merch, and that buzz you only get on the match day. It's also a little tradition I've had for years. I collect a badge from every stadium I go to. It's a tiny thing, but each badge feels like a ticket stub to a different chapter of my football journey. I had to check if they had Kevin's shirt. As a Shakhtar fan, seeing it hanging here still feels surreal. It's like a piece of home turning up in West London. Walking in and seeing the pitch open up straight away. There's nothing like that first glimpse on the match day. It was time to head to my seat. I was very fortunate to sit in the single-tiered Hammersmith End, where some of the most passionate supporters are located. Despite the pillars slightly getting in the way, the view looked great. I then moved all the way down, closer to the pitch. Just look at it. The first row feels so close to the pitch that the players almost feel like an arm's length away. I'm a huge fan of these single-tier terraces. They are incredible for creating good atmosphere on the match day.
So the starting lineups are in, and unfortunately Kevin is not starting, but I'm sure he'll come on as an impact sub, and he'll have an opportunity to really impact this game. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting and exciting game for both teams today. So hope he manages to, impact it in a good way.
One of the most unique things about Craven Cottage is where the players actually come from. Their changing rooms aren't inside the main stand like in the most modern stadiums. They are over in the old cottage pavilion, that little building at the back there, tucked in the corner. It was built back in 1905, originally as a pavilion for members and officials, and somehow, over a century later, it's still being used on match days. Because of that, the players have to walk across the pitch from their changing rooms to reach the dugouts. It's such a rare sight in modern football, but that's what makes Fulham different. It's a stadium full of quirks and history, and moments like this, with the teams walking out from the cottage, remind you just how special this place really is. I ended up right at the back, and the roof here is unbelievably low. It honestly made me laugh. I have no idea how some fans don't smack their heads on it when they celebrate. It gives the stand so much character though, it gives it like these really old school football vibes. Fulham fans were very loud, and the team started off pretty well. However, 20 minutes in, Crystal Palace's striker Edin Ketia had a chance in front of Fulham's goal. It was a very unfortunate goal to concede, and I feel like mentally it knocked Fulham down a bit. Just moments later, Nathaniel Klein from Crystal Palace had a golden opportunity to score, but then some heroic defending by Bassi prevented the goal from going in. Soon after, Harry Wilson scored an absolutely stunning goal.
So, my honest halftime opinion so far, really good game by Fulham, to be honest. And, they started off a bit slow, then got into it, lots of possession. Definitely deserved to have scored in that half. Crystal Palace scored with the only chance they had all game, all half rather. But, yeah, pretty much a good half so far. I think Fulham can go into the second half with a lot more confidence in themselves, and I think they really can win this game. An interesting insight also is that Crystal Palace are starting Nathaniel Klein at right back, who is kind of aging. So I think if Kevin plays on that wing in second half, he's going to have a great opportunity to score or assist because he's such a good dribbler, and Klein will get tired by that moment in the game towards the end when Kevin is going to come on. So here we are, hoping for Kevin in the second half and for a goal and assist for him.
Fulham kept pushing, but it was really difficult to create chances against Crystal Palace's well-organised defence. Straight after halftime, I spotted Kevin warming up, which got me buzzing. As a Shakhtar fan, seeing him out there in the Premier League still feels surreal. I started getting genuinely excited at the thought he might come on and make an impact for Fulham.
Fulham have been so dominant so far in this second half, playing so well. They scored a goal, but unfortunately the goal got called off. But they need to keep going. And see, that was another cross in the box that may well have ended in a goal. But yeah, very good second half so far. I think they can really win this. Just gotta keep pushing.
In the 68th minute, Kevin finally came on, and that genuinely hit me. After following his journey from Shakhtar, watching him run out there felt like everything coming full circle. Fulham fans even have a chant for Kevin already. It was a very tough game for Kevin to come into. He faced constant double teams and often had no option but to pass the ball back. In addition, Crystal Palace subbed off Nathaniel Klein for Canvot, who usually plays as centre-back, in a move to try and contain Kevin. It worked very well for them. Almost as though Oliver Glasner, Palace manager, heard my halftime words. Unfortunately, we did not see a goal or assist from him this evening. To make matters worse, Fulham fans had to encounter a last-minute heartbreak when Crystal Palace scored from a corner on 87th minute. I have to give a lot of credit to Crystal Palace fans. They were very loud and supported their team for the entire 90 minutes.
So my honest post-game review, I think Fulham are very unlucky not to get anything from this game, but they deserved at least a point, to be honest. And when they came onto the pitch in the second half, you could see that they were aggressive, they wanted it, they created chances, even scored a goal, but unfortunately couldn't really get anything going, especially after that goal. And Crystal Palace scored off a corner, and that was that, basically. Unfortunately for me, also, Kevin didn't really make much of an impact today, which is a real shame. And to be honest, I can see why lots of fans are frustrated with him, because when you pay so much money, I think it was 40 million for a player, you expect him to come and perform, and it hasn't happened yet. But at the same time, he showed glimpses of why this money was spent on him, and he had a few successful dribbles, so I can see that he has a big future at this club anyway. And for Fulham fans watching me now, I just urge you to be patient, because he will improve massively.
Thank you so much to everyone who spoke to me today. Fulham fans were honestly brilliant. I had a great time at the cottage, and fingers crossed Kevin keeps growing and finding his feet here. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.